Can flip-flops replace barefoot shoes? I replaced my barefoot shoes with flip-flops, as well as other popular types of summer footwear to find out. And today I'll be comparing them all for comfort, performance and price before deciding on an overall winner. And first up, we have flip-flops, which are called flip-flops because of the sound they make when you're wearing them. Here they are, and these cost me 50,000 IDR, which is about 75p, less than the price of an avocado in Waitrose. Flip-flops have a wide open toe box and are zero drop. The only difference from a barefoot sandal is the sole's thickness, which at 15mm is almost 3 times the amount of cushion compared to my barefoot sandals at 6mm. They also roll up like barefoot shoes, so are very flexible. Now I haven't worn flip-flops for years, but I do remember in the past that this bit here would really hurt my toes. However, the past couple of weeks wearing these, I didn't experience that at all. To be honest, everything was going well and I thought we'd already found our winner and that this was going to be a short video. That was until I decided to do a little bit of research and quickly discovered, of course they're not good for you. The main issue being this bit between the toes, which I'm not sure what it's called, so I'm just going to call it the nub. As the nub is what keeps the flip-flop connected to our feet, our toes must curl and excessively over grip, which throws our center of gravity from the balls of our feet to the toes, and this can cause issues with our walking gait. Over the past couple of weeks, I didn't notice any issues, but repercussions from changes in your walking gait are probably going to take a little longer than a couple of weeks. However, this did make me a lot more apprehensive about wearing the flip-flops for walking long distances. I also noticed that because your heel is not strapped in, your feet can change position when you're walking, which again can cause issues to your walking gait. I really thought these were going to be the solution, but now I'm not so sure. Scores for flip-flops: comfort 8, performance 5, price 10, giving them a total of 23 out of 30. And before we get to the next shoe, you might be thinking, aren't barefoot sandals the solution to being barefoot this summer? And for me, that hasn't been the case. My zeros broke in the first week, my Trek 500 squashed my little toes, and the field grounds I brought with me I find quite restrictive in the heat, and they're also a ball ache to take on and off. I also find the minimal tread hurts my feet when walking long distances, and I know I have weak feet. I do read the comments. Next up we have the hippie staple and something I've never tried before, the Birkenstock. So instead of the thong at the front, these guys have 2 straps, so this should alleviate the toe crunching problem. Now trying these on the store, they felt really good. However, this again was short-lived, and after only about 5 minutes of wearing them in the real world, they began to really hurt, to the point that I had to put my flip-flops back on to walk the rest of the way home. This really confused me, so I decided to do some research, and what I discovered really surprised me. Now some of you might be thinking, why don't you do your research before you buy your shoes? And that is a good point, but also, where's the fun in that? So Birkenstocks, despite being zero drop, actually have arch support in the footbed, and as someone who hasn't worn shoes with arch support for over 4 years, this really caused me some discomfort. I also noticed that even though they are open-toed, they still squash my little toes similar to the Trek 500s. They're also quite stiff and very thick, with a height stack of 20 to 25mm, over 3 times the amount of my barefoot sandals. So good for a Tinder date, not so good for feeling the floor and overall foot flexibility. Scores for the Birks: comfort 2, performance 5, price 1. Give them a score of 8 out of 30. Next up we have another hippie favourite, going barefoot. I actually walked barefoot when I was in Germany and it went a lot better than I anticipated. Well, apart from a few funny looks and having the dirtiest feet I've ever seen, of course. And I was excited to give the barefoot lifestyle another go. However, it didn't last very long. So the floor is so much hotter here in Bali. It's like a literal real life version of the floor is lava. Also, there is a lot of construction going on here in Canggu, so you would need to be super careful if you're walking around barefoot. For this reason, and mostly the obscene heat, I would save being barefoot for when you're at the beach or walking minimal distances. Score for barefoot: comfort 1, performance 1, price 10, giving barefoot a total of 12 out of 30. So it would appear I'd rather walk on fire than wear arch supported shoes. And for the final pair of shoes today, we have Crocs. Whatever you might think about Crocs, they do look comfy, they have a wide toe box, and an awful lot of people seem to be wearing them these days. After my previous debacle with the Birks, I actually decided to do a little research before buying them this time. Growth. And literally after about 20 seconds of Googling, my hopes and dreams of becoming part of the Croc gang quickly vanished. First of all, they're not zero drop, they have a heel lift of about 5 to 8mm. And for those who may not know what heel lift is, it is the drop in height from the heel to the toe box. This can put your body in an unnatural alignment movement, whereas barefoot shoes or even flip-flops are zero drop, which means your heel and toe are at the same height, which is supposed to encourage a more natural gait when you walk. And as someone who is adapted to zero drop shoes, any heel lift now causes me pain. To top it off, Crocs soles are 41mm thick. That is almost 3 times thicker than my flip-flop, which is already thick, so I'm glad we looked that up before we bought them. For people who like the idea of Crocs, I did find a pair of Vivo barefoot shoes that have a similar vibe, the Ultra Free Blooms. Though I personally find Vivo barefoot shoes a little bit too narrow for my feet, and making this video, I'm starting to realise how fussy I am when it comes to shoes. As I didn't personally try out Crocs myself, it doesn't feel fair to score them. However, with heel lift and soles as thick as marshmallows, they're disqualified. Sorry, Croc lovers. That means that the overall winner for the summer-based footwear is the flip-flop. However, just because flip-flops won today, it doesn't mean I'm going to be chucking away all my other barefoot shoes just because I'm in Bali. If the past couple of weeks has taught me anything, however comfy and convenient some of these shoes may be, if you're someone who likes to walk at least 10,000 steps a day, you really need the heel supported to ensure that the shoe fits properly and promotes a proper walking gait. So for now, I'll just continue with my daily shoe switching operation unless anyone has a better idea. So can flip-flops replace barefoot shoes? Yeah, as long as you don't intend walking anywhere.